J'adore Dior. Hello everyone, Connor Whitmore here again with another video for you on the Nawtystep channel. And it's time for the 5k Q&A. I'm going to try and keep this introduction pretty short and get to the questions ASAP. But before we get going, I do just want to say a massive thank you to every single one of you. I am doing exactly what I want to do, and that would not be possible. The channel would not be where it is right now without all of you, every single one of you, so thank you. This is just the beginning, and I've been working on a load of stuff in the background over the last year or so that I'm very excited to show you all. And yeah, I've said it before, but you'll want to be in it for the long run, I can assure you that. But on to the meat of this video, the questions. Now, I sent this question out to all of you via Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, about what kind of questions you would want your boy to answer. So basically, what I'm going to do is go through each of those media outlets in order. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, then YouTube to finish with. And yeah, hopefully it'll be a lot of fun and you'll learn some new things about your boy. A couple of questions here that are a bit more long-winded and extensive and that I've written some notes down for, but others that are a bit shorter and don't require quite as much thought and are very much going to be completely off the cuff. But yeah, here we go, the 5k Q&A, a load of answers coming your way. Ooh, that was a nice little rhyme, wasn't it? And first off, we're going to take to Facebook. Okay, question 1. What is your favourite movie score? Perhaps ashamedly so. I don't have one, and I don't know of that many. I'm not actually someone that watches that many films, so yeah, unfortunately, I don't have that much knowledge around that subject. The only person that kind of springs to mind would be Hans Zimmer. And I know he's had a part in a lot of films, but yeah, my knowledge doesn't extend much further beyond that, and I apologise for that. But it is something that I want to know more about, so yeah, that would be my answer for that one. And lastly, on the Facebook front, would you rather only be able to listen to Borgor's new album for the rest of your life, or Bear Grylls' new album? Oh my god, that is such a good question. Christ, gosh. You see, my instinct is the Bear Grylls one because the Borgor one is just that bad. The Bear Grylls one is just a bit boring, but boredom really does kind of stifle you and drive you crazy. So there's part of me that for the rest of my life would, you know, want it to be full of laughter and joy and happiness. And whilst I wouldn't get the final two with the Borgor album, I certainly would get humour. I would be laughing a hell of a lot. So I think in answer to that question, it is a very difficult one, but because the Bear Grylls one is just so bland and lifeless and skeletal, I think I would have to go for the Borgor one just for a bit of a laugh. Okie dokie, now moving on to Twitter. A dubstep trend that needs to go. I've actually written down an answer for this one, and I've written making music that is fixated on the heaviness of the drop to the extent that everything else feels neglected. Yeah, that is something that I think is a trend in dubstep at the moment and needs to go right in the bin. Weird stuff I do that people wouldn't know about. Okay, that is potentially the most erring question possible. When it comes to me eating a meal, if everything is kind of separate, your veg, your carbs, your this, your that, I eat the thing that I dislike first completely, and then from there, in order of what I like most, I go upwards and upwards. So if everything is separate on a plate, I don't mash it all up, I don't eat that stuff together. I eat the stuff that I dislike first so that I have the best bit right at the end. But yeah, I hope that's weird enough. Last piece of music you felt a sincere emotional connection with and why? A few things come to mind here. This will, I think, maybe surprise some people, but Ed Sheeran used to be absolutely fantastic, and we're talking about kind of 2011 era. He released a project called the Number 5 Collaborations Project, and there's one song on there called The A-Team, a very sad, miserable song. And that track features a guy called Michael Payne, a very powerful vocal delivery on that song. And I heard it the other day in the car with my mum, and I just completely burst into tears. It was just, I hadn't heard it in a while, and I kind of realised what he was saying in the song more and more. Another one is Stockholm Syndrome by Muse, another which I heard in the car not too long ago, and again, just completely moved to tears. The music completely took over. very overwhelming experience, but I enjoyed it. It was very powerful. What are some genres you enjoy outside of EDM? Love you. I love you as well. For me, it's never been about genres, it's more about songs. Every genre that I've heard in my life, there are songs that I really enjoy from it, and songs that I really don't enjoy from it. So there's no genre that I blanket completely enjoy. Not even dubstep, trap, bass house, drum and bass, whatever. Excuse me, I've got a burp coming up. But for me, yeah, never about the genres, always about particular songs and what they can deliver. There will never be a genre that I like wholesale, front to back. Opinion on the state of the dubstep scene, and again, I have written something down for this one. I like that so many people are involved and keeping it going, and I think it is a great genre for people to try it out and keep it going in that way as well. But the expectations of a certain amount of heaviness in the drops, release schedules, and social media personalities have really watered the genre down. For me, I think that is completely undeniable. Most important thing for a producer to make emphasis of on a track: what makes it interesting and memorable? What elements in bass music do I not like? Okay, so a kind of triple-headed question here. I'll go through them in order. I think the most important thing for me is for the person making the track to make it feel like their own, and for them not to feel like they have to succumb to trends and stuff that other people do, to let that dictate their music and how they create. What makes it interesting and memorable? I think particular sounds that you may have found, or sounds that you've made yourself, just stuff that makes it kind of unique. And again, going back to the idea of not having it sound like a kind of carbon copy or like the majority of stuff that we hear today. I mean, you can have your influences and whatnot, but what are you actually adding if it isn't something that really comes from somewhere true and genuine within you? The exact opposite, really, of copying something note for note, sound for sound. And what elements in bass music tracks do I not like? Again, gonna go along the same sort of lines here of, yeah, if it's just too samey sounding and there isn't really anything perking my ears up in terms of uniqueness or individuality, then yeah, I must admit that is something I don't really like, that I'm not a big fan of. And I know that is difficult, especially for those starting out and trying to make a name for themselves, etc. But the more you practice doing that, the better you will get at it. So yeah, that's all I can say on that front. Which record label has the best artworks? Dubstep-wise, I would have to say Disciple are absolutely killing it. At the moment, they are just on another level. Never Say Die ones are pretty classy as well, but they also have a fair few ordinary ones in the midst of that. Venturing beyond dubstep, I would have to go for Quality Goods Records, the trap label. Their artworks are just absolutely sumptuous. They just look incredible. Very good graphics, incredible colours, just amazing definition to the picture. Yeah, check them out if you haven't already. How do you go about organising your music library? The answer to this question is quite long, and I've planned to make a video on it for a while, because I do want to share it all with you guys. I think the way that I kind of go about organising my music really, really works for me, and I think it would for everyone else as well. So I look forward to making a video on it at some point. That will be coming very soon. What will be the next big thing in the EDM scene? I've said this before, I think maybe drum and bass blowing up in America. I've put that idea forward to several other people who think it will never happen. A lot of American people are very vocal also about their distaste for drum and bass, saying they can't dance to it, it's too quick, etc. Fair enough. But I still think it could happen. Would have its bad points, but overall I think would be a good thing to see. I'm excited for it if and when it does happen. What makes an introduction good? I don't think there is kind of anything stylistically that I could say that kind of works for every introduction. What I would say is that for me, a good introduction is one that is fitted to the style and approach of the song following it. So I've heard introductions before that are really short that I really enjoy, ones that are like 2.5 minutes long, and more that I also really enjoy. But the similarly good thing with them is that they're very fitted to the song that comes after it. So if you have a short introduction, then it's probably going to be a very snappy song like Right In, for example, by Skrillex. Or if you have a very long introduction, then it's going to be a song with a load of changes and kind of developments to kind of fit the developing nature of the introduction before it. So a song like, I don't know, Cybertron by Far Too Loud, for example. If you haven't heard that song, check it out. It's incredible. But yeah, that is what I would have to say on the introduction front. Favourite non-review YouTubers? I've actually made a little list here. Thank you, Landon the Goat, for the question. Earthling Ed, who is a vegan activist. He is amazing. Sick Animation, probably my favourite cartoon channel on YouTube. Flashgits, which is another animation channel, very funny. Russell Brand, he spits a load of truth. And Much Dank, of course. How on earth could I go without mentioning Much Dank? Which older tunes do you still listen to on a regular basis? Well, every year I have a playlist for my favourite singles, my favourite remixes, albums, EPs, etc. And so they're definitely my first port of call for a blast from the past, if you will. And I've been thinking actually of transferring those playlists over to Spotify, so that you can all hear and know what my favourites from each year were from 2014 or I think 13 onwards. So yeah, if you think that's something you would enjoy, then let me know in the comments below. What was the first record label you got into? Does UKF count, or is that just a promotion channel? If that counts, then I would go with that, but you know, at the beginning I was just listening to whatever producer or musician I could find. I wasn't even thinking remotely about labels. I didn't even know what they were. But I suppose the first one that I was listening to pretty consistently would have to be Never Say Die, for sure. Is running the Nawtystep channel a one-man operation as of this moment? Yep, 100% just me at the moment. Very challenging but rewarding job. It's so multifaceted. There's so much to think about all the time. It is difficult, but I do love it, as I've said. And I think over time, as I do different things more and more, as I bring new kinds of media into the Nawty brand, then I will have some people on board to help me out with stuff. But until then, it is a one-man thing. Nawty brand, Nawtystep, Connor Whitmore. What's your favourite horror movie? The Babadook. What's the thing that dark electronic music is missing most at the moment? Good question, Raf. Thank you very much for the question and the kindness here. I would have to say a more relaxed release schedule. I think it's really missing that. And as a follow-on from that, a bigger appreciation for the art itself. Allowing this music to have a longer shelf life, for it to be respected more, to have its spot in the limelight for a much longer period than is normal now. Do you like pasta with chocolate? No, well, I don't know. I've never tried it and I never want to. What do you think about the subgenres movement? I'm not sure I know exactly what you mean about it being a movement, but I do love subgenres and I love that people create new styles and ways of producing electronic music all the time. If given the opportunity, would you conduct interviews with various DJs and producers that you enjoy? How do you come up with the right words to describe electronic music? Well, very good question, and I think I've explained this to a few people before, but basically, for me, what it involves is being as honest with yourself as possible regarding what you enjoy about something and the images that it conjures up in your head. So when you hear something, what do you think? You know, right away, what does that make you feel? What kind of mood is it inspiring in you? Oh, well, that song makes me think of a werewolf from a film, and so that's what I'm going to write down. There's no right or wrong at all. It's about how it makes you feel, and your own opinion and your own views, and from there, if you do that again and again, then it just becomes normal, and for me, that's how it's been, you know? Just kind of being really honest with how I think about it, how I feel about it, and that completely shapes how I talk about something. There's no beating around the bush at all. Your favourite part about reviewing or analysing a track or project for your channel? Editing, writing, listening, etc. Another very good question. Thank you, Jason, very much for that one. I would have to say I think the writing of it. I think when I've finally got my thoughts out and I've planned out what I want to say and it's structured how I want to deliver it, then that is probably the most enjoyable thing for me, is kind of getting to that point. And when I've rounded off a review and I've put down everything I want to say and it's in the right order and it flows well, that is definitely my favourite part. It's definitely not the filming. I really don't enjoy that bit. And also the listening can be quite difficult because you have to do it multiple times to have a kind of rounded view of it. but also you're noting down everything that happens whilst also noting down how it makes you feel. So yeah, constantly juggling between those two things and having to kind of dip between one and the other, two completely different types of thinking, is quite difficult. So yeah, overall, I'd have to say the writing process for me. And now moving on to Instagram. Any good solution for explosive diarrhea? Well, it depends really what you want from this situation. If you want to stop the diarrhea altogether, then I would look at something like Imodium, which is a pill you can take to completely stop that really river-like flow. But if you want still a little bit more of it, if you're kind of enjoying the chocolate fountain of surprise, if you will, then I would just perhaps eat a load of stodgy food, maybe some bread, load of carbs, really get those in your system to kind of shore everything up and just make for a kind of less fluid experience there. Fuck's sake. Top 3 dubstep tracks of all time. Going Down Under by Bear Grylls, Pawn Step by Dodge and Fusky, and Railbreaker by Riot 10. How old are you and what did you study? Where did you go to college? I am 25. I turned 25 almost a couple of months ago now. Yep, September baby. What did you study? I did philosophy and English literature, which was great. It's where I got all my words from, of course. And where did you go to college? I call it uni. But yeah, I went to uni in Birmingham, which is in the Midland area of England. So travelling from London, which is where I live here at home. It was about a 2-hour journey, whether by car or train. So yeah, I hope that answers all your questions. Have you ever tried producing yourself? Yes, I have. I used to be in a 3 called Triptych with my friends from school, August and Finbar. And yeah, that was a load of fun. Something I'm not sure I'll go back to in a hurry, just because it is very time consuming, and as you all know, I love the reviewing, I love my words, but it was a load of fun and I might go back there someday, who knows. Favourite producer right now? I've actually got a few and I've noted them down. Proshul, Super Rave, Eugene, ISO EXO, I think that's how you pronounce it, I could be wrong, and Akios. Will you be coming to Lost Lands 2020 and consider a meet and greet? Yeah, as per, it's always about the money. If I get that together, then I will definitely be going. And in terms of a meet and greet, if I go, yeah, 100%. Yeah, that will definitely be happening. Thoughts on D&B? I love it. Why the hell does my cat run into my door at 3 in the morning? Your cat doesn't want to be there. He or she wants to be outside a little bit more and not trapped to the confines of your room. So how about you let the cat out for a bit, and then maybe he or she wouldn't do that. Which would you exclusively listen to forever for the rest of your life? Dubstep or Riddim? There's part of me that doesn't really get this question because Riddim is dubstep, but if you want me to stop being, I don't know, facetious about the question, then it would have to be dubstep. You know, much more scope for variation there, much more flavoursome for the most part, and yeah, it's what I grew up on, so I would have to go with the former. Favourite non-electronic artist currently? Thank you very much, Simon, for the question. One of my day one boys from school. Much love to that boy out here. But yeah, I would have to go with a sort of rap, hip-hop, R&B singer slash rapper called Darcy. That's D-A-R-C-I to my knowledge, but I will send it right your way. I think you would enjoy his stuff a lot. What did you go to school for? To learn all of these words so that I could talk about electronic music to all of you. What do you do for a living? So, Nawtystep actually takes up the majority of my life, hands down, and absolutely no question about it. I am working on this channel so much. Pretty much all the time. I don't really get a day off. Aside from that, I have a little IT job that brings in some money, which is good. I can do it whenever I want. So yeah, that little side job is the thing that's keeping me going. How did you get introduced to bass music? And another question, which I think is quite similar, what was your journey through electronic music over the years? And actually, I made a video completely covering everything in those 2 questions, so I will link that just here. Dream lineup, 5 people. Okay, so I've actually jotted this one down as well, in no particular order. Daft Punk, Burial, Mordfustang, System of a Down, and ABBA. Quite the eclectic mix there for sure. And to finish off with the questions from YouTube. Firstly, any of your reviews where your opinion differs from the one you had then, better or worse? I had a really long think about this one. There was one EP in particular that was actually quite recent, and that is Rotten Roll Part 2 by Zomboy, which I wasn't really that big on my first 4 or 5 listens of it. I still don't think the ideas really match up to what he's done before, but the way it's put together, I think the mastery of it, you just realise more and more with each listen, and I'm not sure that I mentioned that quite enough in my review. I could be wrong, I might have talked about that quite a lot. I haven't watched that review in a while. But aside from that, I think my thoughts pretty much entirely are quite long lasting. And yeah, what I think now stays pretty true to what I thought then. That's not me kind of being stubborn or whatever. It's just that, yeah, my thoughts don't really change. And yeah, that's my thoughts on that one. Any underground, dubstep or rhythm producers that you believe are being slept on? Yeah, again, thought about this one for a while, and I would have to say that all the boys from audio, I think, deserve way more recognition than they get. I'm thinking of the likes of, you know, Basic, Red Axe, Guillotine, Parnay Muir. I just think, yeah, they deserve more recognition than they get. They are all fantastic. I love them all. And beyond that, I think not necessarily underground, but Graphite and E-Craze, I think, always deserve more than they get. What do you think about the old and new Skrillex? Old Skrillex completely shaped this channel, my love for bass music and electronic music generally. Nothing but love for old Skrillex, and new Skrillex I love as well. I love that he's trying out new things and that he feels like he can do whatever he wants with his creation, with his art. I'm never going to be against him because, you know, regardless of whether I may like or dislike his stuff, and don't get me wrong, I've disliked a fair few of his songs in the past. Without him, electronic music just isn't what it is today, so nothing but love for the guy, old or new. Big ups to the legend himself. What do you think about rating a project, and will you do it in later videos? I've never really been one for the whole rating system. I get that some people do it, and that works for them, but it doesn't really work for me. Most people in the music industry hate them, and I'm talking about the people that make the music, and those are the people upon whom the industry depends. So I think with the music that I'm talking about in particular, it's much more intimate and kind of close than pop music or rock music, for example. You know, if I give a rating for a Kanye West album, for example, he probably likely wouldn't even see that review anyway. So there's a real kind of separation between the consumer, the reviewer, and the musician. Whereas here, as I said, it's much more close and intimate. Just having that kind of thing in circulation, the whole rating system, and kind of having a thing of comparing people and reducing music to a number, I'm just not that big on at all. Are you more of a Vision or Division kind of guy? I'd have to go Vision. Favourite experimental EDM producer at the moment? Either Saruda or Shanghai Doom. And to finish off with, is the EDM industry becoming oversaturated, or is there still plenty of room? In terms of uniqueness, creativity, individuality, there's always room for that, plenty of room for that. But when it comes to ghost producing, carbon copy tracks, social media personalities being more out there and at the front than the music itself, then no room at all for that in my sphere or my world of electronic music, at least. That's for sure. A very good note to end on there. There we have it, the 5K Q&A. Thank you very much for watching. Any information in this video that surprised you particularly, or anything that you weren't expecting? Quite interested to know, actually. So let me know all of your views, thoughts and opinions in the comments section below. For some examples of the other kinds of video that I do on the channel, be sure to check out the link right here. And yeah, thank you all very much once again for 5K. I love you all. You're the best. Onwards and upwards we go. And I shall see all of you in the next one. Keep it naughty, everyone. Peace out.